Hi, welcome. Thanks for tuning in today. And thanks for the new session and financial education. And thanks for following this series and getting yourself educated and sharing with the people who you think that, could help them to understand their finances better, to handle their finances for their families and friends and families, and particularly to be independent on your own finances by simply start investing. So let's try to understand. When I made the previous video, um, fifth edition is the future is optimistic. So I wanted to understand a little bit more deeper into it to understand how you think that future is definitely is optimistic by looking at the people what we have. Now, I just put a little bit of statistics, and I just want you to understand how, first, we'll understand what are the basics things that we go through as a person and as a unit, how we need to be interdependent on each other services. And then where do we stand in each country, each developing countries, and where do we stand in India as we speak. So that data will give you a little bit of confidence also to move ahead and thinking that the future definitely is going to be optimistic. Now, let's say if you're an independent and you don't want to depend on anybody, and what are the possible things that you could do by yourself? Say that you are a multi-talented guy that you don't need to depend on anyone, anyone like zero zero. So you can do everything for your daily necessities, like old days, probably like when we talk back about say 100 years back, probably in our villages. So we were doing pretty much, again, I think in the villages people were sharing as well before they're selling it for whatever it is. But then try to understand as we speak how many things you can do it on your own. So for example, food. Now, as I said, you go to the grocery shop, you buy whatever you need, you pay, and then you come back. But then let's say you wanted to make your own rice, your own wheat, your own vegetables which is needed for your daily survival. And say for example, you don't need to buy a milk, but then you can buy a cow and make a maintain the cows, and you can get your own milk. And water, say for example, water is pretty much is getting a very disastrous condition time to time in some places. But again, if you can manage your own place, you can make a bore well and then get your own water, which is fair enough. And vehicles, if you are capable enough to construct your own or build your own motorcycle or build your own car, that's a good place to stay, so you don't need to depend on anyone. So petrol, petrol is something which is required if you want to have any mode of traveling. But then if you think that, if you, same like a water, if you dig yeah, a bore well, and then if you manage to get lucky enough to get a petrol, pretty much you're in a very good shape. So so you don't need to depend on petrol. And then job, basically, you don't need to work if you have all the necessities filled without depending on anyone. Pretty much you don't need money to go and buy something, basically. So we go to work because we need to get all this basic necessity for ourselves. So you don't need to do any jobs because you will be busy doing cropping all the necessities for eating, taking care of the cow so that they can get milk, and then looking, to find the sources to get a water, etc. So basically, if you do all those things on your own and whatever the things what you're paying for, uh, you don't need to think about money anyway. So that is a basic understanding I want you to get. So ask yourself if you can manage all these things on your own without depending on your society. My guess is, other than doing the job, pretty much you need to look on each and everything dependent. Food, I don't think that you're in a shape to do it. Milk, pretty much odd unless until you're in a village. Water, again, that you can give a try to check it out. Vehicles, definitely unless until you're your own engineer, to start something, do something, or mechanic, or if you're on that trade, unless until that you're not going to get. Petrol is unless until you live in an Arabic country, is pretty much you're not going to dig a borewell and find a petrol in your house, around the house. So pretty much here is big no, and you're going to be dependent. Correct? There are many people who provide those services. So, so that's why, whatever the skill you have, you need to be good at it. You don't need to worry about all the things that you want to do. So that when you're good at and what you do, you generate an income which can buy you all these necessities, simple understanding. Now, pretty much, unfortunately, fortunately, you need to get electricity for your house and all the gadget you use. So, the be it air conditioning, your refrigeration, your washing machine, your fans, and so on and so forth. So, electricity is mandatory, and there is no way that you can survive without electricity. Well, you say, okay, I don't need electricity. I'm okay to live my life with the candles and the light like old days, which is fair enough. But then you need to understand that's most important part of it. And the mobility, mobility is okay. Say you cannot buy a car or any mode of transportation to do on your own convenience. But then there is a mobility the society is around us created, in terms of buses, trains, flights, and which makes, unfortunately, fortunately, you have to pay prices based on the set standards, the places. And unless until you're on a living, construction, everyone needs a roof to stay. So unless until you can make your own construction in all aspects, it's a different story. But end of the day, that's why we pay for it maximum amount of the time to get our own house, stand a roof, unless until you're confident enough that you don't need, you can do everything on your own, starting from making your own bricks, starting making your own steel, cement, and flooring, electricity, plumbing. If you can do all those things on yourself, you don't need to do go and buy from somebody else, because you can do it. Don't forget that then it takes time too. Food I had covered already, and education, unfortunately, fortunately, we are all depending on the private education. So, there's a lot of charges, there's a lot of fees we are paying from kindergarten to the further, moving further. So there are so many education systems are coming up. But unfortunately, fortunately, that's your expenses. Medical and health, it's one of those big things that, a lot of countries, a lot of people, and a lot of you as a family suffer unless until you don't have a good backup insurances. Medicals are big expenses if some unfortunate things do happen. And yeah, these are the basic necessities that you think that as a common man needed. So, but then if you're good enough to make all of things on your own, well and good, and you're in a great shape, you don't need money to do anything, because everything you're doing it by yourself. Now, I'm being a little bit sarcastic here, because sometimes these are the opportunities we have in terms of whatever you do. These are many, many, many forms of opportunities we do have as a people to support each other. In my previous videos, I had mentioned you cannot be independently doing everything on your own. You have to be interdependent, be it in a business, be it in any kind of form of service. As I said, each and every one has their own trade to give you those services. And your job is for you to get better in what you do, and generate more income so that you can buy all those necessities. So that's a thumb rule that we need to understand. Let's talk about the businesses. So why am I connecting all these things? When I said last videos, the future is very optimistic, I always connected it to the people. So each and every family has somewhere, some point of time, you need to use pretty much these, and then many more in the form. So this is something that I could recollect. I just put it on a board. So there are many things you can reflect your life and see what are the other expenses, other services you are taking, which is taking your money. I'm not saying taking your money. I would say that you're taking service in return. So whatever it is that you're not giving anything for free, you're just getting something and then you're paying for it. So it's a fair deal in terms of businesses. So now let us talk about the businesses, many business owners and how they are prospering, and then why that is directly linked to a country's economy, which I'll come a little bit on that. So as we speak, last 20 years, or as we speak, the population of India, as I said, is 1.1 billion, say 1.3 billion. So in China, it's 1.4 billions, and in USA, it's about 350 millions. So basically, we have a lot of opportunities. These two countries have a very good opportunities because it's driven by the people. People use all these services, and some form of businesses will make money because they provide the services which is required for the people. It's a simple logic. Now, people can say, oh, these guys are getting rich and rich and rich, but then imagine what kind of businesses they are providing to the people. And the two important things that if we don't have a private businesses, and imagine number of unemployment rates will rise in each country. So as I speak, I'm talking about that one. Indian unemployment rate is, as we speak, is about 6%. China is about 4%, and USA is about 3.6%. And considering China is in that much of 1.4 billion, I don't know if the data is correct or not, but 4 point unemployment is extremely, extremely good. Now, considering USA, I mean, like if you look at it, the number of population we do have we are doing quite good, but still, 6% out of 1.3 billions is quite a large number. And then this is where the businesses, a lot of businesses, people come and invest and they provide jobs, and then people do take things very negatively that they're taking away job. No, they're giving you opportunities. It doesn't matter which company is coming and investing. At least they're taking a bold risks and then giving opportunities for the people, giving so that the families and the economy will go, and then families and friends will get. And of course, they're making profits. There is no doubt about it. But then, if you had to wait in employment, after my graduation, I did apply for employment exchange back in my native place called Chittoor. I still yet to hear the news from them. Probably they just throw the things away. I don't even think that they would that the records which I applied still exists after 40 years. Sorry, after 20 years. So, and this is how the trend goes. So the private jobs are really, really, they're giving the more opportunities to the people, and they're investing in their businesses so that people also benefit along with them. No one does anything for free, so that's something that you need to do. I don't think that you do anything for free. I do anything for free. We are working, and then in the form of time we are spending in that particular work, doing whatever we are doing it good, and then in return we are getting a salary. The simple logic works everywhere. Now, getting into that business perspective into it. Now, if you look at it, India's GDP as we speak is 3.16 trillions. I'm not getting too in deep it because maybe I'm not experienced enough to talk about in terms of trillions, etc. But then I'm just giving you the basic idea of where it is and what could be the prospects. And China is about 15.54 trillions, and USA is about 21.41 trillions. So let's say 21 trillions USA, China is 15 trillions, and India is still under pretty much 3 trillions. That is the GDP. As I said again, this is the data what I see. Now, even just looking at these things, India has a lot of opportunities, very good opportunities in coming years down the line in terms of businesses, irrespective of what kind of population, what kind of unemployment rate goes up, then India will have a very, very, very good opportunities to grow. Maybe you will not see immediately, but then you look from 20 years or 40 years down the line, it is going to grow because of the people, basically. Now, if you look at the 20 years of trends on the stock exchanges for each country. So say, for example, the highest of the BSE, the Bombay Stock Exchange, 20 years ago, it was 5,423. As we speak, it's 40,000. Now, in Hong Kong, Hang Seng was 8,000. As we speak, it's 27,000. In USA, Dow Jones is about 10,000 20 years ago, and today is 27,000. See, every country is progressing. I mean, otherwise, if we don't progress, probably we should stuck on this one same numbers. What is mean by progressing? Progressing in terms of economics, in terms of as a country growing, and then people are growing, and then businesses are growing, and then your GDPs are growing. So look at 20 years ago, what is the GDP of USA? You can make your own calculations. Look at the GDP of China 20 years ago, and then look at the GDP of India like 20 years ago, and then you will see your calculations how much we progressed. But then, is there any way that we can still progress further? Yes, absolutely. Why? Because of only reason is the people. Why people do take services? It's not like you're a robo. You born 80 years ago and then you don't do anything and then you die after 80 years. It's not going to happen. You are a person. You have emotions. You are a person. The people are around us and services are taken. Services are given. And fortunately, unfortunately, this is how the system works. And when, as long as you have people around us, there is a businesses opportunities everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. So the future is very optimistic. Is the way how you look at it. Now, why I'm referring this one is that I'm going to come back on a video and how the BSE index funds can be of your advantage if you stay long enough. I'm just going to get a little bit deep into it and to explain you how the index fund works and what are the businesses, big businesses. When I'm saying BSE goes with the 30 funds and NSE goes with the 50 large cap, I mean like the top funds basically. So and how those calculations, what is that, the regulatives are derived or come to that conclusions, and how that can you think, just by investing in index funds, how you can benefit in a long run. Just these examples are the small examples we can take for 20 years. And yeah, someone asked me, Madhu, if you wanted to invest in index fund today, I need a 40,000 rupees. Well, probably after 20 years, it is 80,000 rupees. So again, how much of risk you can take is something different that you need to ask, but then yes, it's up to you. And these are the basic education I'm trying to explain, and then everything is up to you on what you want to do, how you want to see yourself. So, but end of this video, I want you to understand future is positive, very optimistic. Why? Because of the people. Why? Because people take these services. And again, why I'm saying in this past 20 years of trend shows on your employment, on your people, and in India is growing with 1.1% rate, by the way, and a population, and then China is raising with 0.43% and USA is raising about 0.60. So soon enough, we are going to be number one in terms of population. So we are going to capture, a lot of attention, a lot of opportunities are open. And then if you look at in a positive approach, it looks life is going to look very bright and, limelight. With that note, I would like to leave you today. I wish you have a wonderful day, and I hope this gives you a broader understanding why the future is optimistic. If you like this video, do share with friends and families to understand their financial education for them to get better in what they do. Stay tuned, stay blessed. Watch out for the next video on NSE BSE index and how it can help you if you have a capacity to look into those funds. Stay tuned, stay blessed. Thank you.